Welcome to this evening's STEMtastic pop-up session. We're joined today by a panel of experts from the world of STEM to look at the different routes into those careers. Each panelist is going to introduce themselves and give you an insight into their sector and the routes that you can take to pursue a career within that area. You're going to have the opportunity throughout the evening to be able to ask questions while the panelists are speaking, but there'll also be time towards the end of the session as well to answer any of your questions. So please feel free to keep popping your questions into the chat. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our panelists. So we have Chris Tague from Rolls-Royce tonight. We've got Sandy Lacey-Aberdeen from Zoopla and Tech She Can. Catherine Clark, who's a government scientist, and Eddie Watts from TWI, Sophie Gray from Aviva, and Liam Hicks and Andrew Corsten from BT. We're also joined by our very own Cassandra Fisher from West Suffolk College, who's also on the line to be able to talk to you a little bit about the up and coming T-levels. So I think we'll get started and give Chris the opportunity to introduce himself a little bit further. So Chris, over to you.
Hi, so first of all, good evening, everybody. Hiya. My name is Chris Tague. I'm currently Chief of Manufacturing Technical Control in the Civil Aerospace Division in Rolls-Royce. I'm based in Derby. I've been working for the company for about 20 years now. Started through an internship graduate training program, and then I've been in the company, as I've said, since about 2001. In terms of my interest in this process, I guess I'm a keen supporter and have been for many years in terms of the apprenticeship routes, graduate routes. And I'm a mentor to many different individuals within the business. And finally, I'm also a fellow member of the Institute of Mechanical Engineers.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
And so I'm going to pass over to Sandy, who's going to talk a little bit about Tech She Can and the opportunities and different routes and careers in Zoopla.
Thanks, Nelly. Thanks, Chris, for letting me follow. What an amazing introduction that was. I'm going to have to try and embellish mine to make it more impressive. So I am Sandy Lacey-Aberdeen. I head up the talent acquisition team at Zoopla. I've been with the business for 4.5 years, and I'm also one of the founding members of the Tech She Can Charter, which we launched 3 years ago, which is an organisation that is around encouraging more females into choosing tech careers, but just more students into choosing careers in tech, and also educating parents and teachers about the breadth of opportunities there are in tech. There are so many different positions and careers that you can take, not just engineers or in software. I am very, very passionate about giving opportunity to people that wouldn't normally get it. So one of the things that I have been championing at Zoopla is apprenticeships. And that's apprenticeships for all. So it isn't just for, you know, school leavers or college leavers or graduates. It's also for anybody that maybe wants to change their career. And it's something that we also use to promote personal development at Zoopla for our current employees. I've been lucky enough to partner with Tech She Can, and we've piloted a software engineer apprenticeship program, which we launched last year. And we have a cohort of 10 apprentices at the moment who are about halfway through their program. 7 of those 10 are female, which we're very proud of. But what they've helped us do is to change our ratio of engineers, female to male gender at Zoopla, because in tech, it is a problem. As a business in tech, we overall do really well, actually, with our overall employees from a gender perspective, but we still struggle, like many, with engineers in tech. But I'll talk to you maybe a bit more about that if you've got more questions.
Perfect, thank you. And over to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Nadine. So hi, everyone. My name's Catherine. I work in the civil service. I'm currently a policy lead on the Building Safety Programme in the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. It's got a very long name. I'm also in my 3rd year of the Civil Service Fast Stream. So that's a graduate programme, and I'm on the Science and Engineering Fast Stream. The civil service has about, sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback there. It's got about 420,000 people, and civil servants, essentially, work that we're doing is helping the elected government of the day carry out its policies across the UK. That covers lots of different things. So, for example, the Department for Education, responsible for schools and colleges. They look after hospitals and the Department of Health and Social Care. A Department of Transport, they look after, they work to provide public transport such as buses and trams. In my role, so I work in, as I said, the Ministry of Housing, and I'm working on the building safety regime. So it's about bringing forward fundamental changes about improving building and fire safety. And I'm working on not on existing buildings, but on how we make sure that when we're building new buildings in the future, that they're safe. And so I'm happy to talk about that, and I'm happy to talk about the fast stream and other entry routes into the civil service, because there are lots of civil service. There's apprenticeships, they have the fast streams, that's their graduate scheme, but also there's opportunity just to apply directly for direct entry roles. So there's lots of different routes in. So I can talk a bit about that and some internships as well.
Lovely, thank you, Catherine. And Edward Watts from TWI. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Everybody. Thanks, Nadine. Yeah, I'm Eddie Watts from TWI. I've worked at TWI now all my working career. TWI is involved with the research and technology in the engineering sector. So we get involved with all forms of welding and joining of materials. So material science, R&T, business. I started my apprenticeship in TWI quite a few years ago now, and I've stayed there all my working career. I've worked my way up to the chief technical engineer within TWI. We support and take apprentices in from school leaving age, and we will sponsor them all the way through to level 7 now. So we're delivering level 7 MSc apprenticeships to feed the engineers for the future. As most people are, we value our staff as the highest asset to the company. So retention is important to us. Like Sandy, we're struggling with female engineers at the technician entry level. We're not too bad at the graduate level, but at the technician level, we struggle. I think I'm at 3% female to male ratio. So yeah, any questions related to the engineering sector, I'm more than happy to answer, and routes in and qualifications, etc.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Eddie. And Sophie Gray from Aviva. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Nadine, and hi everyone on the call today. It's lovely to be invited. So Aviva are a financial services organisation. We're based in Norfolk and have locations across the UK and also across the globe. And mostly people expect people to work at Aviva to be finance people, to be numbers people, to kind of deal in insurance and investment. But moreover, now we're starting to see some emerging careers. So we have lots of requirements to build apps, and we need engineers and lots of STEM careers at Aviva, which probably people wouldn't expect to see. So my role at Aviva is to support apprenticeship development programs. So equally, we use them for new talent attraction methods, and also for existing colleagues at Aviva looking to develop their skills and move around the business as well. So we've really adopted apprenticeship since 2017. We've got lots of exciting campaigns. Currently recruiting, we've got a number of roles in our technology teams at the moment in project management, business analyst, that includes some degree apprenticeships as well. So lots of exciting stuff. I agree with Sandy's point around kind of opportunity. For me, apprenticeships are a brilliant way to support people at different stages of their career and at different stages of their life to be their best. And apprenticeships have proven to be great at that. I've got some lovely examples of success. So later on in the call, I can possibly share those if that helps bring some context to those of you who are interested to know more about apprenticeships.
Thank you so much, Sophie. That sounds really, really interesting. So Liam and Andrew from BT, do you want to just outline some of the opportunities available at BT?
Sure, thank you, Nadine, and thank you, Sophie. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for everybody for joining and tuning in and giving up your early evening to hear from us. So as Nadine says, I'm from BT. I have a very kind of pompous job title, I think, but it's a new talent resource strategy manager. Essentially, my job is all about looking for people who have passion, interest, and energy, who want to come into technology. You don't have to be kind of the very just be steeped in engineering, but it is helpful if obviously if you are interested in science, technology, engineering, or maths. But we're looking for people who are really good at solving problems, being creative, and have just got a real passion for that kind of thing. Myself and Liam are based at a place called Adastral Park. It's a really big building with a tall tower on the edge of Ipswich, so it's not too far away from many of you, and there's a picture of what it looks like in some glorious sunshine. Last year we took 241 graduates and 261 apprentices into BT, and 41 of those apprentices were based at Adastral Park, and about a similar number for graduates. And right across BT we've got entry routes for people who are interested in apprenticeships, industrial placements, summer placements, and if you're deciding to do a degree. So there's something like 10 apprenticeship programs and over 20 graduate programs that are available, not all of them at Adastral Park. And to Sandy's point as well, there is no upper age limit for applying for an apprenticeship with BT. So we do get people who want maybe a career change or looking for something a little bit different. They've all maybe had an interest in a particular area. But one of the things that we're really keen, Liam and I, to answer any questions you have, because I think there's still some kind of miscomprehension about what apprentices with BT are. It's not about people going up on telegraph poles or driving vans about. It's a lot more sophisticated like that. So we take, for example, if you watch BT Sport, or anytime you use a payment transaction, all that technology, anytime you use your mobile phone, anytime you call emergency services, the equipment that they use in hospitals, it's all cared for and maintained by some of our apprentices and graduates based on the outskirts of Ipswich. So looking forward to hearing from you later this evening. I'm going to hand over to Liam as he's living proof of what we actually do.
Yeah, hello guys. Yeah, as Andrew was saying, I'm one of the apprentices on the course currently. My job title is Delivery Operations and Support Apprentice. So I'm one of the level 4s at the moment. There's kind of 2 intakes this year in terms of technology, and that comes under the level 4 and the level 6. The level 6 go off to like university in Ipswich, so nice and local to the Adastral Park location, and the level 4s go off to a place called Y Boston, and we do the level 4, so a lot of the exams and coursework based content. Whilst on site, it's all kind of network based, so as Andrew was saying, it's to do with the 999 service, dealing with that phone calls, keeping the network alive. We've got cyber operations coming into the park, and we've also just had work allocation control come in as well. So there's quite a few different variations. It's not so much of just going up poles and dealing with 4G and 5G, although that is a big part of it also. But myself, I've just come from college. Well, not just come from college, sorry. I did do ICT at level 4, I think it was. I did that for my 3 A levels, and then I went traveling for a year. Worked here out of business, and then joined the apprenticeship at 22. So you don't exactly have to go straight in. There is other ways. There's people in my year that are also 29, 30. So it's a big kind of mix of ages. But yeah, so far it's going well. I'm enjoying it. Working from home, unfortunately, but not much you can do about that.
Nadine, you're on mute.
It had to happen, didn't it? So thank you ever so much for that great introduction. We're already getting some questions through, but I think we'll just allow Tracy Smith from Treats to introduce herself, and Cassie, and then we'll go to the questions. So Tracy, do you want to just introduce the opportunities at Treats?
Sure. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining this call. So my name is Tracy Smith. I work for a company called Treat, which is based in Bury St Edmunds, and we supply flavour and fragrance ingredients worldwide. So it's a very interesting and diverse business. We have an established relationship with the Apprenticeships, and we also offer T-level students placements, internships, and we run a graduate trainee program. And I believe that by approaching an apprenticeship or internship, graduate trainee route, you can offer far more versatility to your potential students, candidates, however you want to describe them. And they're certainly far more well-rounded by the time they reach us as employers, and are set to serve the business really well. We're about to move into our new purpose-built building on this new Suffolk Business Park, which is really, really exciting and a fantastic opportunity for any young people that might be interested in building a career in this really unique industry.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Tracy. And over to you, Cassandra.
Good evening all. My name is Cassandra Fisher. I am the Work Placement Manager here at West Suffolk College. I'm also a T-level ambassador, so I'm here to answer any questions that anyone may have around the exciting new course options of T-levels as a route into a career in STEM also, and or a progression into university or higher level apprenticeships. West Suffolk College is excited to be launching 3 new T-level routes this September in laboratory science, digital support, and early years education and childcare. Keep an eye out on our website and our social media channels for upcoming launch events and information evenings where you can learn more about the T-levels. But I'm happy to be here to support this evening and answer any questions that may come in with regards to the new options of T-levels. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cassie. So we've had our first question in, and it's a fantastic question. So is it easier to get a well-paid job after an apprenticeship, or is it better to get a degree and then apply? So I'm going to open that up to the floor, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of people with lots of opinions about this one. So I don't know who wants to go first.
I'm happy to go first if you like. So I'm not even sure if it's the right question, to be honest, because many of the apprenticeships are actually full degree apprenticeships, and you actually, the degree that you get is worth exactly the same in kind of employability and as if you went to university full time. The main difference is, of course, you're studying and working at the same time. And so the apprentices, I can speak for example, so some of the apprentices at BT on the data and technological solutions level 6 apprenticeship, they study for a BSc science honours degree from Exeter University, which is a Russell Group university, a top university. And they actually come out in BT, Liam, don't tell any of the graduates this, but actually they actually come out by the end of their degree apprenticeship, if they hit all their milestones, earning a little bit more than the graduates would after coming into BT. So I think, you know, it really depends what you want to do. There are lots of different routes now, and Cassandra mentioned there about the T-level routes. That's something that BT will be piloting later this year as well. So I'm not necessarily sure. I think it really depends what you want from a career and what you want from work. I've always said if it's about money, go into sales. If it's about doing something interesting and helping society and being passionate, choose whatever that you're really interested in. If that's technology, a STEM related apprenticeship is really great for that.
I just wanted to add to that, Nadine. Sorry, I totally agree with what Andrew is saying. I think it's difficult to answer directly that question because, you know, salaries do vary depending on what job you're going for. And, you know, if you're going for X job as an apprentice, it will be a different salary to Y job as an apprentice. But I think there is a bit of a misconception here that people tend to think that apprentices are lower paid than graduates, and that isn't the case. The pay should, and in my experience does now, reflect the job that it's doing. Obviously you're coming in at an entry level the majority of the time, depending on which level apprenticeship you're doing. But there isn't a big disparity between apprenticeships and graduate pay.
Can I add something as well, Nadine?
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess there's a slightly different way of looking at it as well. In terms of if you start an apprenticeship, you know, you start earning the second that you leave school. So you'll start at a certain base level of salary. As you then progress through your apprenticeship and you essentially complete all your training program, you will start fundamentally at a very similar level, if not the same level as the starting salary of the graduate training schemes that we have. So, you know, if you leave school, you go through apprenticeship, you get all your MVQs, you know, all the qualifications. Then you start in your first job, in your first permanent position. And from that point, you then, as the other guys have said, have the opportunity to go on to do your degree course, whether it's a bachelor's degree, your master's, and the people that I work with have also done their PhDs as an example, you know, so kind of the opportunities are endless. If you want to go and find them is what I always say. You know, don't expect them all to just land on your lap. You know, if you want to progress, you want to, you know, do is work hard and succeed, go out and find those opportunities.
Absolutely. I don't know if anyone's got any more to add to that.
I was just going to add that you know, full-time education doesn't suit everybody either. So an apprenticeship is an alternative to going straight into, you know, a continuation of full-time education. And I agree with the other panelists that, you know, experience is important as well. So you get real life experience while you're earning and learning.
Yeah, brilliant.
And Nadine, if I can just add my 2 pennies, I totally agree with what everyone has said so far. But I think it's just about options. So people follow different paths in life, and it's absolutely fine to find your own path and to follow it, and to make your own mark. And apprenticeships just give you that option to do something that's slightly different. So traditional education doesn't suit everyone. People sometimes are ready to come out of the traditional kind of school and then university pathway, and being given the option of being able to earn money and do a job and learn at the same time, for many people is highly motivating, and it really suits very ambitious people. So what we find is many different people from many different backgrounds wanting to do apprenticeships because it's right for them at that point in their career. So yeah, I don't think there is a one size fits all. I don't think that there's a right path. I think if you are keen to get into the world of work and to start earning some money, to start kind of making your own path and feel empowered, then I think apprenticeships are a fabulous opportunity for you.
Thank you ever so much, Sophie. We've got another question that's come through that I think is probably sort of linked to that, and it's from an anonymous person, but is it more competitive to get onto a degree level apprenticeship or to do a normal degree? And does that person need to apply through the company or through UCAS? So great questions. So I don't know who wants to start the discussion on whether or not it's more competitive.
Wow.
Chris?
I'll jump in on then. So is it more competitive? That's an exceptionally good question. Do I know the answer honestly? Not quite. I think it's, you know, the apprenticeship programs in themselves, regardless of where you go, regardless of what company you look at, are exceptionally competitive. I would say they're probably on a par to the, you know, competitive entry to get to university. You know, you go through a similar application process, but for A-level apprenticeships as we have, so kind of post A-level apprenticeships as well as GCSE apprenticeships, you apply directly to the company. Okay, so you don't go through UCAS for that. But I think, you know, there's competition wherever you go is the best way I can put it. Can I put my finger on the true answer? No, unfortunately not. But very good question.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone's got anything else to add to.
Yeah, can I add to that at all?
Yeah, Liam, go for it. You've been through it recently.
Yeah, no, so I applied for the level 6 at BT. And I believe I was one of 2,000 people that applied for 40 placements at BT. Unfortunately, I actually didn't originally get the offer for the level 6. So that would have been to go to university at Ipswich. So instead, I've got given a phone call a day later and said that they want to take me on for the level 4 course. So I would say most definitely, I think degree apprenticeships are way more competitive. The amount of spaces there are versus the people that apply for it. It was well over 2,000 people applied for 40 places, and I think it's like 4 people, or I think maybe between like 4 and 8 are actually doing the degree in my section. I think Andrew might be able to correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, I mean the overall premise is it is very competitive. There is a lot of interest because they're really great apprenticeships. And I think if anything that is good, anything that is deemed to be good, you will get a lot of interest. And I think the thing that's really important is, and as well as when you're applying, it's you think about not just about what you can get, but what you can offer, how you can contribute, because that will make you stand out against anyone else. And it's not always just about academic qualifications either to do that. We do look, I mean, the apprentices that we took last year or took in recently, one had worked in a family butcher's, one had been a window fitter again, someone had organised outward bound courses. Yeah,
of all sorts. And some people have literally no knowledge. We're doing the courses now, but something I found really useful is on the level 4 course is there is actually kind of like a taster of what you need to learn. I myself have knowledge of kind of components of computer parts, but that's what they start to build you on, and they give you a base knowledge. And then once you pass those 2 units, you then progress onto the kind of more complex parts. I'm now doing a course on Server Plus based on CompTIA. So they do build you up, but I would probably say that the degree apprenticeship is just so competitive. We have people from Liverpool come all the way down just for an open day. And even for the interviews, I had someone from Scotland. So it's not just people from Ipswich that are applying or Suffolk. There's actually people from all over the country that move down to Ipswich to try and get a place here.
Can I just add one last thing? Is the other thing is don't think this is a once in a lifetime shot to apply for something. So we have come across people who've not been successful the first time or even the second time, but they've got in the third time round. So
this is my third time to get in.
There we go. And actually one of the guys was Apprentice of the Year, but he failed the first time round. Sorry, Sandy, what was you going to say?
I was just going to say, I totally agree. I would say the reality is, particularly now with this market, there are a lot of people looking for jobs. So that means there are a lot of people who are going to be applying for jobs and apprenticeships and any other schemes they can. What I would say, and this is to the panelists really, is that, we only have a small amount of apprentices compared to some of you, but I think we've all got a responsibility to encourage more businesses to use the apprentice route, so that we can give more opportunities to more people that need it now.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've also had a few more questions on the thread of apprenticeships. So we've got Karen who's asked, what is the difference between an apprenticeship and an internship? So anybody want to describe the difference?
Yep. Shall I can. Yeah, go on then. So internships. So it's a couple of internships. So internships generally can be before you start university. So you'll take a year out fundamentally, and you'll go and do a kind of a 1-year placement. So very kind of similar arrangement in terms of being able to gain experience of an organisation you're working within. You can also do kind of sandwich years at university. So that could also be another internship where you will do a couple of years study, go and do a year out again. And come and do an internship. We also do summer internships, so it may be kind of 3 months or kind of around that period, and that's what I did actually. So initially, I did a summer internship, and then I did a 4 years internship. So internships are kind of opportunities to learn and develop in a company before you actually start working for them, or before you start embarking on a training program, so to speak. Apprenticeships, you start an organization, you are paid, you go through a full training program, and it's a much longer process, I guess. So it's 3 or 4 year program in case of our company, for those kind of apprenticeship programs. So internships kind of between education, or just before you're about to start. Apprenticeship is, you're going to stop your post GCSEs or post A levels and start on that process. Hope that answers the question.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Chris, if someone wanted to complete an internship, what would you suggest they do in terms of sort of making those first steps to a company?
Okay, well, I guess for our personally, it's exactly the same process as you would do if you were interested in applying for an apprenticeship or a graduate placement. You go through our rollsroyce.com careers webpage, which details all of that information in terms of those routes into the company. So actually, to echo the comments that we just made about the competitiveness, we get thousands of applications, you can imagine, for all the programs. We get thousands of applications for the internship programs as well. So, and we use the same process fundamentally. So it's kind of a standard method of application, a standard method of interviewing. So rollsroyce.com/careers is the best thing to look at.
Lovely, thank you. And then I think this next question sort of links, I think, to both that one and the to what Andrew was saying before. So would you need any certain GCSEs or A levels for a route into any of the apprenticeships? So I don't know if Andrew wants to answer that particular one. And I suppose leading on from that, what else would somebody need, or should they kind of look to have when they're obviously making their application? How can they make themselves stand apart from the rest?
Okay, thank you. So in answer to the first part, then every apprenticeship program has a minimum entry requirement. Some of those are set by the government, by the learning education body. So it's really, really important that you familiarize yourself with what level of BTEC or A level or equivalent entry that you have. Typically, you'll need to have maths and English at the old equivalent level C in GCSE. I'll get really muddled up with the numbers, so I'm not going to attempt to say that. Similarly, at A level, each apprenticeship will have its own entry requirements, so do check. And if you're even thinking about something right now, you need to check, because some will specify particular subjects, or at least one of a number of subjects. But as I kind of hinted at a little bit earlier, your entry requirements in terms of your education attainment, you just want to do as well as you can to meet at least that minimum standard. And that's really to show that your level of education attainment is such that if you're doing a degree apprenticeship, you can cope with a degree. Because one of the biggest things you will find that's different between studying full-time, say in a college on a kind of post on an A-level or BTEC course compared to a degree, is on a degree there is an awful lot more amount of self-directed study, and where you've got to be really kind of motivated and aware of how you learn. And actually, that's one of the things I would actually kind of, as part of your preparation, think about yourself. How best do you learn? How best you take in information? What makes you get out of bed in the morning? Because that's some of the things that we're going to be looking for as an employer. So on your application, where you've got things where you've done beyond your immediate academic or technical education qualifications is so important. So for example, you might not think anything of babysitting your younger siblings if you've got them. You might not think anything of, well, every time the internet goes down, you're the one in the family or the whole street that fix it, for example. That shows that you're tech savvy. Do you help elderly relatives get onto technology? If you play sport, are you a captain? Do you coach younger kids? Do you have any positions of responsibility? because all of these, what we call soft skills or business related skills, so taking leadership, being responsible for others, dealing with difficult people, if you have to deal with, in a shop, you deal with different, customer complaints, for example, they're all the things in whatever way of life, whatever you choose, are really, really important to an employer, and they will make you stand out. And you know why? Because a lot of people don't think about these sorts of things, or they don't consider them. I was actually helping a student applying for a BT application, and it turned out that he had to relocate from one part of the country because his family moved, and he was on a management traineeship with a supermarket. What he didn't put on that was the fact that he was the kind of section supervisor for 18 staff at the age of 18, and that's quite a big responsibility. So I said, put that down, because all he put is just, I've worked at Morrison's, but you didn't actually say what you did. And so you've got to just try and maybe think, or get other people to look at kind of what you do. And that will really help make you stand out. So it's not just about your academic qualifications, it is what you do as a person. And so just really, I call it my pie. Show your passion, interest and energy for the subject, for the thing that you're applying for. And that's the most important thing.
And I think that goes back to what Chris was saying earlier, wasn't it, about taking all of the opportunities that are offered to you, and to, pursue all of your interests, and not just necessarily those academic subjects that you might be studying at the moment. So that's really brilliant advice. Thank you, Andrew. I don't know if anyone's got anything else to add.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I love that kind of pie analogy. I think that's lovely. I think what I would add to that, probably links into the passion element, is personality. So certainly what we've experienced is apprentices applying for roles, and what they bring is a personality. And often that's really hard to label yourself, isn't it? So, what is my personality? What do I bring to the party? But maybe a simple thing that you could do with your friends and family is ask them about the qualities that they think that you have. What are your key qualities? How have you helped them at a time of need? How have you helped them cope with a situation? And you could use kind of the COVID situation as a prime example. And I'm sure that they will tell you things that maybe you don't realise yourself. So often that's quite a good exercise, just to understand a bit more about yourself. And to include that somehow in bringing your own kind of personality to the fore in your application. So all of those examples that have been cited are brilliant, but also, make sure that you are true to yourself and really authentically represent who you are as a person. That's always valuable.
Brilliant. And I think that's absolutely true, regardless of whether or not you're applying for an apprenticeship or for your UCAS application, for example. When you're writing your personal statement, you want to be able to get across your personality and those interests that you have, because that's what will make you stand out. And when you go to interview, you'll have all of those different experiences to talk about. So regardless of which route and which pathway you decide to take, I think those elements stand true, don't they? So we've got another question here from Ben, and I think this one is probably for Cass. What is a T level?
Yep, that would be me. So T level is a technical qualification. So they are high quality work focused alternatives for A levels for young people once they have completed their GCSEs. So as I said, we've got 3 routes launching in September, and they'll become one of the main routes through which young people can enter the sector. So the level 3 technical qualification will provide learners with knowledge, the skills and behaviours needed to progress into skilled employment or into higher level technical training. So it is a 2-year course. It has technical qualification. It is the reverse of an apprenticeship. So whereas an apprenticeship, you would spend 80% of your time with the employer, employed by the employer, and you would have day release to an educational institution. With a T-level, it's the reverse. So 80% of your time is spent in college, with day release of 1 to 2 days a week with an employer on an industry placement. Within the qualification, you have your core content, so your knowledge and understanding of the concepts and theories and principles relevant to that sector. And then you will also have an occupational specialism within there. Then the other major part of the qualification is the industry placement. So that 20% of your time is spent with employers like we have with us today. They will provide you with technical skills and the knowledge needed, practical skills for employment, and you will be able to make a meaningful contribution into the workplace. I'd like to take this opportunity to also introduce Claire Appleby, who's on the call with us today, who is from the Education Foundation and is our regional facilitator, specialising in the T-level support with us for September. So Claire, if you wanted to add anything to that.
It's really just to say there are new qualifications starting from September 2020. There's 24 T-levels in total, so they will be promoted quite heavily over the next couple of years. A really great opportunity to support learners from an educational background, but also for the industry placement. I think Cash, you sort of explained it very well. It is the flip of what an apprenticeship is. They have been designed by employers, so they have been all the standards, the assessments have been designed with the industry in mind and sort of in context. They are exam-based or project-based qualifications and a 2-year programme.
Thank you. And I've got another question here which is related to that, which is if someone wanted to apply for a T-level, would they apply through the company or through a college?
They would apply through the college. All the courses are listed on our website. We have a fantastic team of careers advisors at West Suffolk College who will be able to help you select the correct course that's right for you. And you would apply exactly the same way as you would for any BTEC level 3 qualifications following Gcses at West Suffolk College.
Lovely, thank you. And Andrew, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about T-levels.
Yeah, just come off mute. So, I mean, from an employer's perspective, and I think, you know, these are a very massive potential to see kind of the future pipeline of talent coming through our regional colleges. What I would say, if you're really seriously interested about T-levels, do talk to your local providers, such as at West Suffolk College, because employers are looking at these very seriously and treat the whole exercise really seriously, because we will be looking at these as a potential pipeline for our apprenticeship programs going forward. I can see we've already begun discussions internally within BT how this will work. So if you are asked to, particularly for the 20% employer active experience, there will be an application process of some kind to go through. So try and treat it seriously, because it's a real good forerunner to what you'll be facing after you leave education at that particular time and decide either to go into a apprenticeship or to university. And it's worth saying as well, we've talked about the similarities and differences around applying kind of after university and at going on to apprenticeships, and they're pretty similar. So if you think, oh, well, you know, the hassle of kind of applying for an apprenticeship too much, I'll just wait and go to university and get a high-flying job that way. Well, I'm afraid it's exactly the same. So it's the same approach. So yeah, but I think T-levels are an amazing potential, an amazing product, because you get to see, and don't forget, it's not just employer choosing, you're being able to choose in a safe environment. Well, is this really what I want to do? And you get to try before having to apply for something and think, oh crumbs, I made a terrible mistake.
Thank you, Andrew.
Can I just add?
Yes, go.
Sorry, can I just add in there that T levels do have the same UCAS points as A levels, so they are equivalent to A level qualifications.
Thank you. So I think linked to that particular pathway, we've got a question from Helen, who's asking a couple of questions. If you do A levels, do you start at level 4 for an apprenticeship, or do you have to start at level 3? So I think there's a little bit of explanation, I think, into the different levels of an apprenticeship there. And then also, if you're doing A levels, is there an opportunity for work experience or to support an EPQ? So I can probably answer that one in a minute, but I don't know if anyone wants to just talk about the difference between the different levels of apprenticeships, and whether if you do A levels, you go straight to level 4.
I can kind of give a bit of an explanation from kind of as far as BT concerned. So different apprenticeships have different levels, because it's essentially the different, they are designed for a particular role that you're applying for. So in Liam's case, he's doing a level 4 apprenticeship, which means he will gain a qualification. Typically it can be a foundation degree, it's not a full honours degree, but you may get the opportunity to top it up and your own steam to a full BSc or BA honours. The level 6 apprenticeships, and very often you can tell what's required by the entry requirements, because they tend to be a little bit kind of tougher for some of the level 6 ones, because they are a full degree apprenticeship. So you can, depending on whatever A levels you are studying and what the grades that you attain, you can apply directly for a level 6 apprenticeship. So the one that I've talked about before with Exeter, partnered with Exeter University, you need a minimum entry requirements of 2 A's and a B. And that's really important, and they're STEM related subjects, because you've got to be able to cope with the mathematics on the BSc. It's in data analytics. So I don't know, I guess maybe Chris, you'll have a view from your perspective as well.
Yeah, so I guess practical apprenticeships, level 3 engineering is essentially what you do from that, which is post GCSE. When you look at A level kind of entry points and degree apprenticeships, it varies quite significantly in terms of those kind of entry requirements. They also vary by the kind of apprenticeship course you're looking at. So probably take me about 20 minutes to go through all of those, so I'm not going to even try. So again, yeah, sorry, I'm going to do that default answer. If you refer to our website, I'll give you the full details on all those programs. So.
Lovely. And I think referring then to the work experience question with your A levels. So obviously that will depend on the college that the student is obviously studying their A levels, but that college will have a careers advisor that will support them to find work experience opportunities. And I'm fairly certain that all of the companies here today would say they would support work experience, short internships for students across the year. If you're studying A levels, you'll find that the course, it's not that it's not flexible in terms of allowing you to go out during term time to do work experience. However, you'll probably find that students tend to do their work experience within the summer holidays or within the Easter holidays, for example, where it doesn't have an impact, obviously, on their studies. Whereas if you were doing a BTEC, you might find that you're in college for 3 days of the week, and then you've obviously got time during the week to do your work experience. However, I know from my own students that, for example, we've got students doing some work experience with BT, where actually, because of the virtual nature of the work experience at the moment, actually we've been able to be very flexible about the time that they're out of college, and they've actually managing to work that time into their timetables during the week, and also being able to do some of that work experience during the holiday. So I think actually the virtual nature of some of the new opportunities actually opens those gates a little bit for students who are studying their A-levels. But again, I would go back to Chris's statement about taking all of those opportunities. They're there, and the colleges will support students to find those opportunities, such as the Nuffield bursaries, for example, are a great way to get some extra experience working with some fantastic companies, not just in this region, but across the country. So I would speak to a careers advisor and find out about the different opportunities that are out there. So I've got another question, which is from Hannah, which is, do companies favour their own apprentices, or would a university graduate have the same chance of getting a job? So I don't know who wants to answer that one.
I'll have a go at that one if that's all right. So at Aviva, we definitely value people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, with all different qualifications. So we certainly look for new talent to join as apprentices. So they will do a permanent job and they will study and become our technical experts of the future. We equally recruit graduates as well. So those people who've been to university and they've already done all of their studying, and then they join us on a permanent role, and they're looking maybe more for experience. So yeah, both are valuable. Both will bring different qualities to the work environment. But essentially, it's the asset is people, isn't it? So we look for diverse people to work across our workforce, of all ages, of all types of qualification and background. So yeah, we've got many people who've joined us as apprentices who've excelled. We've got many people who've joined us as graduates who have excelled. So it's both is the answer to the question, really. We value everyone in their own right.
Brilliant, thank you. And then I've got one here, and I think this is probably for Chris. I'm thinking about taking electronic engineering or aeronautical engineering. What options are there to get into this in terms of uni degree or apprenticeship? So this is for BT Rolls-Royce.
Okay, so electrical engineering. So in terms of I guess A-level entry points, there are a number of different streams that you can go through for apprenticeship programs. So whether that's manufacturing engineering, whether it's engineering, whether it's kind of material science, etc. So right now, the way in which the company is changing, the way in which the industry is going is more around electrification, etc. So that's kind of a fantastic thing to be looking at, in my opinion. And therefore, there are programs that suit those kind of applications. So again, yeah, we've got various different kind of apprenticeship programs that we run. Off the top of my head, I was just trying to remember what they all were. I think I've just covered those. Alternatively, then it's kind of the degree process. You kind of go and find, aeronautical degree or electrical degree, and then come through the graduate training route. And again, there are different graduate training programs that align to those qualifications. So essentially, there are training programs that align to those qualifications you'd be looking to do. So, but again, I repeat myself, electrification is the thing we're going after. So,
and obviously, Chris, we were having a discussion the other day about the vast array actually of different apprenticeships available at Rolls-Royce. It's not just within the engineering and the different skills that you're looking for.
Yep, correct. Yeah, kind of, as some of the panelists have already said, it kind of crosses the boundaries of all kind of careers fundamentally. So we have apprenticeship programs, graduate programs that go across, whether it's finance or HR, whatever it might be. That's the kind of training programs we run. So
yeah, lovely, thank you. And so I'm just looking quickly. I just wanted to ask Catherine a question as well, because we haven't talked too much about the UCAS application route to degrees and things like that. I just wondered about the process that you sort of have gone through to get to the point in your career currently, Catherine.
So I, as I said, I'm on the civil service fast stream, which is one of the entry routes into the civil service. They also have lots of apprenticeships, but I've not been speaking about them so much because I don't have the first-hand experience. But I know that they have apprentices, I think, from level 2 up to level 7. So I think there are quite a wide range for any stage in career. In terms of the fast stream, So that's a graduate program. So I did apply after university, and it's been really, really interesting. I've worked across, it's like a rotational program. So I've worked in 4 different departments, and I studied sciences at university. I've not been necessarily using that science, like the very detailed nature of it, but just kind of bringing your scientific mindset and way of approaching problems and problem solving, and have worked in a range of different things. It's been really, really, really interesting. Even I spent, I've worked in low carbon heating, so thinking about how we're going to heat our homes in the future, working on international biodiversity. I spent 6 months working on COVID, and now I'm working on building safety. So it's been a massive range of things as well. But yeah, if anyone, happy to answer any other questions about that. But there is, and at the end, I'll put a link in the chat. There's a link to, there's a website which talks all about the different routes into the civil service and the apprenticeships and internships and things they offer. So people can check that out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Catherine. Okay, so I have a question here from Helen. I think we've probably covered it in other questions, but what qualifications do you need to get an apprenticeship in STEM subjects? So being specific about STEM subjects. I think we may have covered that. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to what we've discussed previously. Okay. And then, and I think this one might be for Cass again. What's the difference between T-levels and BTEC in terms of the way they are recognised?
Okay, as Claire said before, they are equivalent of 3 A levels. It's running it exactly the same way except for the format. So so it's still a level 3 qualification. The main difference is the industry placement and the experience you get from a T level that you don't get from a BTEC. So whereas with every course, a BTEC will involve work placement as being a fundamental part of the course. So you'll do your traditional week's work experience. With the T level, you have 315 hours with an external employer who's directly related to the industry you're studying with. And therefore you're spending 1 to 2 days a week as part of the course with that employer. So that's the main difference between the two courses, unless Claire wants to add anything.
Yeah, it'd be worth just mentioning about obviously the first year you're really concentrating on the core delivery content, and the second year you'll specialise into a occupational specialism. So it's very targeted to what your career aspirations would be, whereas BTEC is quite generally a wide range of subjects.
Okay, thank you. And again, probably similar to Cass, from Chloe, is if she was to do an apprenticeship, would she have to do any days at college, and if so, how many? How much time would you spend in college, Cass?
Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah, yep. Sorry, I was still on mute. So yeah, it's the flip side. So it really does depend on the course, on which apprenticeship you're studying, as to how long you spent in college and with employers. So the average is normally day release, 1 day a week into college to learn the underpinning knowledge behind the technical skills you're learning with the employer. It depends on the course. The best thing to do to find out specifically to where your interests lie is to speak to our apprenticeship team here at West Suffolk College, or any college you're applying to, who will be able to guide you through the exact requirements for each course that you're aware before you apply. And that's apprenticeships@wsc.ac.uk. Give them an email, they'll be able to help you through it.
Brilliant, thank you. So I think that's covered all of the questions that we've had so far. So obviously if those of you on the line want to ask any more questions, please get those through quickly. And I'm just going to finish by asking everybody on the panel, essentially, if you had some practical advice for students who are either currently finishing their GCSEs or A-levels and are considering applying either to university, apprenticeships, what kind of practical advice would you have for them? And that's to the panel, so anybody who wants to go first.
I'm happy to kick off. I think one of the things, it's been talked about, I think Andrew might have mentioned it earlier, and maybe Sophie as well. I think it's really important to get an understanding of what really interests you. Where do your passions and interests lie? And, you know, as we were talking about earlier, it's not, your CV isn't as a CV would be if you had 10 years of work experience in a particular sector. It's really about what your interests are, what you're passionate about, and who you are as a person. But if there is something you're really interested in, if there's any kind of course or learning or reading that you can do around that subject, which gives you more information and enables you to be a bit more articulate about it or to understand it better, I'd highly recommend that as well. It's a really good way to solidify your interest in it, because it may be think, I really want to do that, and then you start reading about it and think, God, this is dull, I don't want to do this at all. But you know, it really focuses what you think you like as against to what you really like, and it also gives you an opportunity to see if you're naturally skilled at it. There are so many people who don't have, you know, the right education in inverted commas to be, say, a software engineer, that have a genuine natural ability to just do that job. And it's a really helpful thing to try and do.
Brilliant, thank you. I don't know if anyone's got anyone else got any other practical advice?
Yeah, I would say from oh, go on, after you.
All right, thank you. Just a quick one really from me, and it kind of builds on that, and that's more around making sure that you understand not only the job role that you're going to be applying for, but the company values as well. So if you look at a job role, an apprenticeship job role as a software developer, for example, make sure that that's the role that you want to be doing and are interested in learning about, but then also be intrigued by the company that you're due to work for or applying to work for, because part of the interview process will absolutely be about understanding whether you are a good fit to the organisation, and likewise as well. If you don't like the values of the organisation, then it's not going to be something that you're going to be in it for the long term. So definitely consider the values of the organisation you're applying to.
Thank you, Sophie. Chris?
Yeah, I'd echo those points 100%. I guess I'd also just, you know, build on what's already been said, do your research. You know, make sure you take your time is the best thing I can say. Look at those opportunities, again, look at the company values of each of those opportunities. But for me, just very, very quickly, you know, I always wanted to be an engineer, okay, from day dot, to be fair, but wanted to be a design engineer. It wasn't until I kind of got exposed to industry that I changed my mind and wanted to be a manufacturing engineer, and then that's what I've spent my entire career in. You know, so do your research. You know, if you're interested in STEM, perhaps, you know, STEM is a thing for you, and even within that, I'll say about opportunities, but you know, just because you go down one specific path doesn't mean that you can veer off within that whole STEM arena. So again, just do your research and take your time. The best thing I can say.
Can I just add a couple of things? It's one of the things I do see. So I assess hundreds and hundreds of graduates and apprentice candidates, and you can spot a country mile off those that have rocked up and maybe have done their research the night before versus those that have thought about it. So think about, as Sandy and Chris said, is really make sure that you've got an opinion on the organization. You've looked at what they do, watch them, look at the news sites. If you're interested in technology, make sure you've got a view about what Internet of Things or what smart cities means or what artificial intelligence is. I'm not saying you have to know lots of detail, but show that passion, interest and energy that I talk about. Talk to people who work for those organizations. And I've given Nadine a website link which actually gives real life helpful practical tips for all college leavers, whether you're looking at for work experience, writing a CV, preparing for an assessment centre. So I hope, Nadine, we can post it. It's www.atadastral.co.uk/careers. and it's videos from people like Liam, because they've actually been through this and their experience. So that is the most important thing, I think, is and keep thinking about, what can I contribute? Why should any employer take me? What is it that I can offer? And you'd be surprised actually that you offer an absolute lot, an enormous amount. Your different way of thinking. You're all grown up in technology, and that's really important. So think about doing technology and how it can be for good, and not just technology, but whatever the subject that you're interested in. It's just so important.
Yeah. And I think I would second everything that everyone's said here, regardless of whether or not you're applying straight to a company for an apprenticeship or you're going to go to university and follow that particular pathway. Do your research into universities or into the company, and bring all of your skills and interests to those applications. So I just wanted to say, first of all, a huge thank you to everybody on the panel tonight for joining us, and thank you to all of the participants that have joined us this evening. I think that was really valuable. I hope you've had the opportunity to have all of your questions answered. If something pops into your minds later on and you've got a burning question, then feel free to email us through our STEMtastic website, and we'll pick up your emails and send them on to onto the panelists this evening, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer any further questions that you have regarding these different routes into the STEM world. But we're looking forward to all of your applications, whether that be as a UCAS application and going through that route, or as an apprenticeship. We're looking forward to seeing you all soon. But thank you ever so much to all of the panelists for giving up your time this evening. Hopefully everyone found it very useful.
Pleasure.
So thank you.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.